Good afternoon. In today's class, we will see the last unit of our syllabus, which is Unit 5, which comprises of two subtopics. The first is the trees, and the next is Boolean algebra. So, in the first topic, trees, we will see four subtopics: introduction to trees, application, and spanning trees and minimum spanning trees. In the next Boolean algebra, we will see Boolean functions, how to represent Boolean functions and logic gates. So first, let's see the topic trees. So in the previous class, you have seen something known as simple circuit and a simple path. We have seen what it means by a simple circuit and what it means by a simple path. So basically, when you want to define the term trees, it is a connected graph that contains no simple circuits. A connected graph, that is, all the vertices of a graph should be connected, but it should not have any cycle in the graph. Contains no simple circuits is called a tree. So this is the basic definition of a tree. Basically, it is a subtopic or extension of the topic graph. Trees were used long ago in chemistry to count certain types of chemical compounds. Since then, trees have been useful in computer science where they are employed in a wide range of algorithms. For example, trees are used to construct efficient algorithms for locating items in a list. Suppose if you are finding or searching an item in an array, then trees is very useful to show how it is done with the help of a diagram. They can be used in algorithms such as Huffman coding that construct efficient code, saving costs in data transmission and storage. Trees are also used to study games such as checkers, chess, and can help in determining winning strategies for playing the game. Trees can be used to model procedures carried out using a sequence of decisions. Also, you might have seen the application of trees in data structures topic, which is post-order, traversal, in-order, pre-order. Those kind of traversal techniques also uses the concept of trees. So basically, procedures for building trees containing every vertex of a graph, that is a spanning tree. So graphs, the extension of the topic graphs is trees, or a subtopic of your graph can be trees. And let's see the introduction to this topic. So in the earlier topics, we have studied how graphs can be used to model and solve many problems. So in this chapter, we will focus on a particular type of graph. So basically, tree is a type of graph in which there are no simple circuits. Type of graph, type of connected graph actually, that contains no simple circuits, as I have already written earlier. The type of connected graph that contains no simple circuits is called a tree. And why do we call it a tree? Because it resembles the actual trees that we have. For example, trees here, you have a root and you have the branches and leaves, etc. So in the trees definition of computer science, we also have a root, we have a branch, and we have leaves. That is why we call this type of graph as trees. Now here, family trees used to represent the, so normally when you are in lower classes, you are supposed to create a family tree where you have your grandparents at the top, then your parents, then you and your siblings. So family trees we use generally to represent the members of the family and to create the connection between you and your parents. You draw a line. That line is taken as an edge to represent the parent-child relationship. So the undirected graph representing a family tree is basically an example of a tree that we use in computer science. So if we see the definition, a tree is a connected undirected graph with no simple circuits. So in the case of a tree, it should not have any direction, but it should be connected, and there should be no simple circuits. Because a tree cannot have a simple circuit, it means it does not have multiple edges, no multiple edges. Let me just write it. No multiple edges and also no loops. Therefore, any tree must be a simple graph. Now, also an undirected graph is a tree if and only if there is a unique simple path between any two of its vertices. So if I am talking about an undirected graph, if there is a simple path between any two of its vertices, then it will be considered as a tree. Now, which of the following graphs shown in this figure are trees? Let's see. So here we have a simple path between all the vertices given over here. So this can be a tree. Okay, the graph A is a tree because there is a simple path between any two of its vertices. Now what about this? This graph cannot be a tree because we have a circuit. There should not be any circuit. So it is not a tree, and this is also a tree if you verify the condition of having no simple path and it being undirected. Now after that, firstly, what we are supposed to do is, if we are given a tree, then we should have a vertex taken as root. Then direct each edge away from the root. So if I am taking this vertex as root, then all the edges are directed away from the root. So that is how you consider a root. You are supposed to consider a root for which all the edges are directed away from a root. Now next, here which can be a root? We can take this one as a root. Okay, so this tree can be represented in this way also. So it has 3 children here, and then for this one, what I can do is I can have it in this way. I can bring this root over here. Actually, it is supposed to be a parent, so we will look at that topic later, but for now, yeah. So here I have brought, then direct each edge away from the root. A directed graph called a rooted tree is formed as follows. So what if a different root is chosen? Suppose if I choose this as the root, then what will happen? Let's see that. So we are supposed to direct each edge away from the root. So this comes down. Also, here I have to bring it down. Then finally, a different rooted tree results. How are we creating it? I am bringing, these two are kept as it is. This edge is brought down. So over here, this edge is written over here, and to this edge we have a child. So I am writing that child as it is, and the next child. So now, suppose I am creating a tree for a eatery or a pizza shop. Then the owner is Jake. For the owner Jake, under him there are 2 employees, a manager and a chef. Okay, right under him. Now after that we have, under the manager we have a waitress and a waiter, and under the chef we have a cook and a helper. So basically, if you take an organization, then the uppermost level or the root is the head of the organization. Then the workers under him are written in the, if I am taking this as level 0, okay, so this level, at the level 0 I am showing the head of the organization. Now the next level, at level 1, I will show the employees working under him, and if suppose in the level 1 if you have a manager, then he will manage some employees which will be written in the level 2. Okay, so first we have the owner, then the manager who will manage outside the who will manage the shop, and the chef who will manage the kitchen. Then under the manager we have a waitress and a waiter, and under the chef we have a cook and a helper. Now, so this tree has a root which is the owner who runs the cafe or the shop. Then we have the leaf nodes. The people or the employees at the lowest level under whom we have nobody else are the leaf nodes, and in between these are known as the branches. These edges are basically the branches. Now owner, as I said, is at level 0. The next level is level 1, and then we have level 2. Now the waitress and waiter are basically on the same level, so they are considered as siblings. Why are we calling them siblings? Suppose if we have a family tree, then you have your grandparents at the highest level. So these are the grandparents level. Then the grandparents' children, who might have your father, mother, and your aunt and uncle, suppose. So among these you have siblings. Your father might have a sibling as a sister, or your aunt. So this is your sibling. Then under your father, mother, you and your siblings come. So that level is the sibling level. So over here, each of them, under each root, if we have children, then that is known as a sibling. Now from the root, the left side of the tree is known as the left subtree of the root, while the right side is known as the right subtree of the root. The entire thing is a tree, so some part of the tree is taken as the subtree. So if the right side I am taking, then it is the right subtree of the root. After that, we have internal vertex. A vertex that has children is called an internal vertex. The subtree at vertex V is the subgraph of the tree consisting of vertex V and its descendants and all edges incident to those descendants. Now let's see what is an internal vertex. So how many internal vertices are there? A vertex that has children is called an internal vertex. So over here, Manager Brad and Chef Carol are your internal vertices. Okay. And since they have children, this part will be the subtree of the graph. Now we will study something about a rooted tree. A rooted tree is called a binary tree if every internal vertex has no more than 2 children. So for every internal vertex, if it has 2 children, then it is a binary tree. The tree is called a full binary tree if every internal vertex has exactly 2 children. So suppose if I create this tree, this is my vertex A, B, C, then my vertex B has D, E, while my vertex C has no children. Then yes, it is a binary tree, okay, because each vertex has 2 children, has no more than 2 children. This part is important. But suppose because C does not have any children, it cannot be called as a full binary tree. It is a binary tree but not full binary tree. When will this tree become full binary tree? When C also has children, D, E, F, then G. Okay. Now after that, an ordered rooted tree is a rooted tree where the children of each internal vertex are ordered. Now what does this mean? A rooted tree where children of each internal vertex are ordered. In an ordered binary tree, the 2 possible children of a vertex are called the left child and the right child if they exist. So if I am taking an ordered rooted tree, then suppose if I am starting in this way, then I'll give the order here 1. This is my second, and the left child will be my second child, so will be my first child, and the right child will be my second child. So we will go in the order of left to right. Then the next we have properties of a tree. A tree with n vertices has n minus 1 edges. So if you have suppose 3 vertices, 1, 2, 3, then it is a tree and it has 2 edges. So 3 vertices and 2 edges. If I take the third edge, it will not be a tree. If there are 3 edges and 3 vertices, then it is not a tree, it is becoming a cycle. Now, there are at most 2 power h leaves in a binary tree of height h. So, if the height of the tree is h, then there are at most 2 power h leaves. What do you mean by leaves? The leaves are the nodes which do not have any children are known as leaves. Next, if a binary tree with L leaves is full and balanced, then its height is the field value of log L to the base 2, where L is the number of leaves. Okay, so if we have 8 leaves, log 8 to the base 2, so it will be log 2 cube to the base 2, so this is basically 3. H value is 3, so there are, the height of the tree is 3. So let's draw. We have 1. Now for each of them we will have 4. Now for this we will have 8 children. So there are 8 leaves, L1, L2, L3, L4, L5, L6, L7 and L8. So L8, so now let's count 0, 1, 2, 3. Height is 3. Okay. If the height is 3, then you will have 2 cube, 8 leaves, and vice versa. If the number of leaves is L, then log L to the base 2 will also give you its height. Okay. Now this is an ordered binary tree. Now in this ordered binary tree, suppose if I am saying Lou is the father, then Hall and Max are its children, and Hall's children are Ed and Ken Ken's child is Joe. In this way you can consider, or you can even consider it as an organization tree. Lou is the head of the organization, etc. Now let's see. The parent of a non-root vertex is the unique vertex U with a directed edge from U to V. So over here, if I am saying who is the parent of Ed, so it will be the unique vertex U with directed edge from U to V. So here I want to know the parent of Ed, it will be Hall. Okay, because we have a unique edge from this vertex. If I am considering it as V, then this will be U. So between U and V, this is the unique edge. So Ed's parent is Hall. After that, a vertex is called a leaf if it has no children. So here let's see who does not have children. Ed does not have children, Joe does not have children, and Ted does not have children. So all these vertices are called the leaves. How many leaves we have seen already? We have 3 leaves. After that, the ancestors of a non-root vertex. That means for a root we will not have ancestors, but if the vertex is not a root, then the ancestors, who are the ancestors, are all the vertices in the path from root to this vertex. Now what does this mean? How many ancestors of Ken? So from the root to the vertex, how many ever nodes are there? Those will be the ancestors. So Hal is an ancestor and Lou is an ancestor of Ken. So how many ancestors? The answer is 2. Now what do you mean by descendants? The descendants of a vertex V are all the vertices that have V as an ancestor. So suppose ancestor is basically your grandparents, parents, grandparents, and all till you reach to the top, and descendants are basically your children, grandchildren, and etc. So over here, if the person is an ancestor, then you are the descendant. Example, how many descendants of Hall? There are Ed, Ken, and Joe, because the vertices, the edges are which are deriving from Hall and going below. So the descendants will be the down part of the tree from the given vertex, while the ancestors will be the upper part of the tree directly who have an vertex to that side. Those will be the ancestors. Now next, level. The level of a vertex V in a rooted tree is the length of a unique path from the root V. So what does this mean? What is the level of Ted? So from in a rooted tree is the length of the unique path from the root to V. So level is, this will be level 0, level 1, level 2, and level 3. So Ted is at level 3. What is the level of Ted? It is 3. Now why am I giving this simple example? So that you understand the concept and you won't get confused even if any other tree is given. So we'll look at a few more examples, but I have taken all the concepts and taken the same example so that you are clear with the definitions. Now, the height of a rooted tree is the maximum of the level of its vertices. So what is the height? It will be 0, 1, 2, 3. So the height of the tree is 3. Now, balanced. A rooted binary tree of a height h is called balanced if all its leaves are at levels h or h minus 1. What does this mean? So here if you see the leaves, here we have a leaf and here also we have a leaf. The leaves should be at levels h or h minus 1. So yes, this leaf is at level h. This leaf is at h. Actually, this is at h minus 1. Is it balanced? The binary tree is not balanced actually because we have a child missing over here. So the goal in computer programs is to find any stored item efficiently when all stored items are ordered. A binary search tree can be used to store items in its vertices. It enables efficient searches. A special kind of binary tree in which each vertex contains a distinct key values, and the key values in the tree can be compared using greater than and less than. The key value of each vertex in the tree less than every key value in its right subtree and greater than every key value in its left subtree. So shape of a binary search tree depends on its key value and their order of insertion. Insert the elements J, E, F, T, A in that order. The first value to be inserted is put into the root. So we have inserted J first. Now after that, we have to insert E. Each value to be inserted begins by comparing itself to the value in the root, moving left if it is less or moving right if it is greater. This continues at each level until it can be inserted as a new leaf. So we are inserting E. E comes before J or is less than J, so it is moved to the left. Now next we have F. F is F is the value which comes next to E. Actually, if you see it in the alphabet, after E we get F, so it is moved to the right. Then we have T. T comes after J, so here we insert T. And then finally A. A is the first letter, so it should be moved to the leftmost position. Now, what binary search tree is obtained by inserting the elements A, E, F, J, T? So first we have A. A will be here. E will be here actually. Then F is here. J and T respectively. So basically all the next elements to be inserted are greater than A, so all of them will come in the right subtree. Yeah, so over here each of them, so basically they are arranged in the increasing order, so each of them will be in the right. Similarly, you can take different values and try to create binary search tree. Now after that, graph containing no simple circuits that are not connected but each connected. So if we have multiple trees together, then those are called forests. So these are two graphs not connected, but each of them individually is a tree. So if we have multiple trees, in normal language also we call it, if we have a group of trees in a land, we call it as a forest. So over here, if we have multiple trees and each component is a tree by itself, then it is known as a forest. Now, an undirected graph is a tree if and only if there is a unique simple path between any two of its vertices. Okay, this we have already seen. If there is a unique simple path between any two of its vertices, the first example, first slide. Now the next thing is, once a vertex of a tree has been designated as the root of the tree, it is possible to assign direction to each of the edges. So basically, suppose if we have a tree in this way, let's take this tree. If we have F, G, then the vertex is B. Now from the vertex B, it is connected to A, and this is another vertex D. A is connected to C and E. Now, Suppose if we have a tree and in this tree I am saying I want to take A as the root. So if A is the root, then from A, here I have my A. So let's just take, yeah. So from A I have a child. A's child will be C, B and D. There will be 3 children. So let's write that. This is B, C and D. And we can give direction now because from A we are going to B, C and D. Let's just give direction. Okay, now from B, how many other vertices are they connected to B? We have been connected to F and G. So again we can give them the downward direction. To C we have E connected and D is not connected to anything else. So if we are choosing the root as A with root A, so basically once we have selected a root, we can assign direction to each of the edges. Suppose if I am selecting the root as C, then what will happen? From C I have 2 childs A and E. I can give the downward direction. Then from A again I have 2 childs B and D. From B I have a child F and G. Okay, so this is a tree when I have C as the root. Okay, now the next is, here we have a tree with A as the root and different children and subchildren. So let's take, so A is the root node and C is the parent of G. Similarly, A will be the parent of B and C. Okay. Next we have the roots, the children or the leaves at the same level which have the same parent are the siblings. So F and G are siblings, B and E are siblings, H and I are also siblings, B and C are also siblings. Next we have D is the leaf. A vertex which does not have any children is the leaf, and a vertex which has children but it is not the root is known as the internal vertex. So here B, C, E are the internal vertices. Now after that, who are the ancestors of H and I? Ancestors of H and I will be E, B and A. Okay. Now next, if I am creating a subtree with B as its root, then this part of the tree should be considered. From B, we have the children of B, D and E, and E's children H and I. So this is basically the left subtree also, as we have seen earlier. Now, if we are considering subtree with C as its root, then the right subtree with C, F, G vertices. Now next we have emery trees. What do you mean by emery trees? A rooted tree is called an emery tree if every internal vertex has no more than m children. The tree is called a full emery tree if every internal vertex has exactly m children. An emery tree with m is equal to 2 is called a binary tree. So now for this definition, I'll start from the bottom. So we will look at this term. What do you mean by a binary tree? If a tree has exactly 2 children, and then it is called a binary tree. So if I'm taking this, then for each node it has 2 children, then it is called a binary tree. Okay. Suppose if it has 3 children, m is equal to 3, then it will be called a 3, and instead of m, I am taking 3, triary or triary tree, ternary tree. Okay, something like that. Basically, m value will change over here. The tree is called a full. Now, when do we call a binary tree full binary tree? We have already studied that. Suppose instead earlier, if I have a binary tree in this way, okay, now each node has minimum 0 children and maximum 2 children, it is called a binary tree. But each node has exactly 2 children, then it is called a full binary tree. So now with respect to this, I will see examples over here. So here we have a node for which it has 2 children, then this node has 2 children, and then the last node has 2 children. Is it a full binary tree or simply binary tree? It is simply a binary tree. If we added these nodes also, then it would have been a full binary tree. Okay. Next, let's look at this example. Here each node has 3 children, so m is equal to 3. And let's see this tree over here. Is it a full emery tree? No, it is not, because here this node does not have any children. Even these nodes does not have any children. But actually, one more thing, let's look at the definition. The tree is called a full emery tree if every internal vertex. So basically, this internal vertex should also have 3 children. It is an internal vertex, right? And this internal vertex also should have 3 children. So then it is called a emery tree. Now what about this? Over here, this is also a tree with m is equal to value 3. Now what is an ordered rooted tree? An ordered rooted tree is a rooted tree where the children of each internal vertex are ordered. Ordered trees are drawn so that the children of each internal vertex are shown in order from left to right. Let's take an example. If I am writing in this way, the root is 1, 2, 3. Then I can write it as 1, 2, 3. So this is an ordered tree. Now, properties. A tree with n vertices has n minus 1 edges, which we have already seen. So how many vertices? Let's count the number of vertices. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Let's count the number of edges now. So the number of edges will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So there are 10 edges and 11 vertices. It satisfies this property. Every tree will satisfy this property. Now a full emery tree with I internal vertices contains n is equal to m into I plus 1 vertices. Okay. If there are I internal vertices, then it will have m into I plus 1 number of vertices. Please take your emery tree of the previous examples and try to check this condition. Now, with respect to the emery trees, we will try to check what is the arity of this tree. That is basically, is it what is the m value, and also is it a full emery tree or not. So since each vertex has 2 nodes over here, it is a binary tree, or m value is equal to 2. And yes, this is a full binary tree since every internal vertex has exactly 2 children. So if you notice, this vertex has children, and how many children it has? It has 2 children, and again this vertex has children. It has exactly 2 children, hence it is a full binary tree. Now next, after this, we will have another example. What is the arity of this tree? Is this a full emery tree? So yes, this has m value is equal to 3 since each vertex has 3 children. And yes, this is a full 3-ary tree, or m is equal to 3 since every internal vertex has exactly 3 children. So it is also a full emery tree. Now after that, the next is, what is the value of this? M is equal to, in this case, m is equal to 5. And is this full? Yes. Whatever vertex has children, they have exactly 5 children. So yeah, full tree. Now similarly, over here, what is the arity of tree? This tree, what is m value? So m value here, if you notice, some internal nodes have 2 children, but some have 3. So basically, this is m value is equal to 3. Here m value is equal to 3. And is this a full emery tree? No, it is not a full 3-ary tree since one internal node has only 2 children. So the root of the tree has 2 children, while all the other nodes have 3 children, and again another node has 2 children. So this is not a full emery tree. Now the next is ordered rooted tree, which we have already seen. Example is given as here, and the left child of D is F, right child of D is G, and the left subtree of C. So C has 2 subtrees. One is the left subtree and the right subtree. Here we have circled the left subtree. Then this is the right subtree of C. Next we have the level of a vertex V in a rooted tree is the length of the unique path, and we have also seen the height of the tree example. So height is, in this case, height is 3 since we have to start from level 0. And properties with n vertices, which we have already seen. Now we have to check whether the tree is balanced or not. So for this, let's see here we have the tree. In this case, let's check for this tree being balanced. Here the internal node, for this node we have only one child, and here it does not have another right child, so this is not balanced. Now you can verify similarly for these trees also. Now the next topic is applications of trees. We have 4 subtopics, that is basically where are trees used in computer science. They are used for binary searching, decision trees, then we have a code, prefix codes, and game trees. Now first and foremost, binary trees. A full binary tree is a binary tree in which each node is either a leaf node or has a degree 2, that is has exactly 2 children. A complete binary tree is a full binary tree in which all leaves have the same depth, and a nearly complete binary tree is completely filled on all levels except possibly the lowest, which is filled from the left up to a point. Okay, now for this, let's see examples. A full binary tree is a tree in which each node is either a leaf node or has a degree 2. So this is basically given as follows. So over here we have each node is either a leaf node or, so this is a full binary tree. Now what is a complete binary tree? A complete binary tree is a full binary tree in which all the leaves have the same depth. So this will be a complete binary tree, and the earlier which I have drawn is a full binary tree. Okay, here this node does not have the children, but in this case all the leaves have the same depth. This here has depth 1 and this has a depth 2. So here complete binary tree, all the leaves have the same depth, so this is a complete binary tree. And a nearly complete binary tree is as follows. Suppose we have in this way, and this has only one child, so this is a nearly complete binary tree. Next we have, all the examples have been given. Full binary tree. Okay, these leaf nodes are at level 0, 1, 2, 3, level 3, and these leaf nodes are at level 2. Complete binary tree will be completely filled. All the leaf nodes will be at one level only, that is level 3. Next we have, what is the smallest height possible in a binary tree of 7 nodes? How many leaf nodes does it have? So if we have 7 nodes, that means the height will be 2, 0, 1, 2. And how many leaf nodes do we have? 4. How do we see? Suppose the root node will be this one, 1. Then it has 2 children, 2, 3. Okay. And the children will have again 2 children once more. So what is the smallest height possible in a binary tree of 15 nodes? How many leaf nodes does it have? So in the binary tree of 15 nodes, the height will be 0, 1, 2, 3. If you count the number of nodes, there are 15 nodes, and the number of leaf nodes will be 8. Similarly, with 31 nodes, you can check. So with respect to this, we will have a formula actually. So what is the smallest height possible in a binary tree of 2 power n minus 1 nodes? So if 2 power n, if I am taking n is equal to 2, then 2 square minus 1, it will have 3 nodes. So 3 nodes means the height will be 1. So if you notice 0, 1. So the height will be n minus 1. The smallest height possible in a binary tree of 2 power n minus 1 nodes is n minus 1. A tree with 31 nodes has 2 power 5 minus 1 nodes. So n is equal to 5 and the height will be 4. Okay. So if you have 2 power n minus 1 number of nodes, then the height will be n minus 1. Okay. After that, How many leaf nodes does a binary tree of 2 power n minus 1 nodes have? It will have 2 power complete n minus 1. So if we have 31 nodes, then it will have 2 power 31 means 2 power 5 minus 1. So here we will have 2 power 4 minus 1, that is 2 cube 8 leaf nodes. A tree with 31 nodes has 2 power 5 minus 1 node, so n is equal to 5. And this tree will have, okay, I'm sorry, here we will have 5 minus 1 actually, not 4 minus 1. So 5 minus 1 is 4, 16. If we have 15 nodes, 2 power 4 minus 1, which will be 15 total nodes. Total nodes are 15. Then how many leaf nodes? Leaf nodes will be 2 power 3 minus 1, which will be 8. We have seen the example already. Let's go back again. So the example is here. So 15 nodes, it can be written by 2 power 4 minus 1, which is equal to 15. Then 2 power 4 minus 1, 2 power 4 minus 1 will be 2 cube, 8 leaf nodes. Okay. After that, for any tree with height greater than or equal to 1, a binary tree which has more than 2 power h minus 1 leaf nodes must have a height greater than h minus 1. Suppose if a binary tree has 17 leaf nodes, can it have a height of 4? So 17 leaf nodes means a complete binary tree of height 4 has only 16 nodes. Okay. So a complete binary tree means all the vertices each have 2 children and the leaves are at the same level. So I'm talking about 16 means the height will be 4. What will be the height if the leaves are 17? Obviously, it will be greater than 4. Okay. Next, we have binary search tree. So, binary search tree we create in such a way that this is a textbook example actually. From a binary search, form a binary search tree for the words mathematics, physics, geography, zoology, meteorology, geology, psychology, and chemistry using alphabetical order. So first we have mathematics. Now alphabetical means M is before P in the alphabetical order. So when we add physics, it will be added into the right subtree. That is, physics is greater than mathematics. Okay. After that, we have geography being added. G comes before M in the alphabet, so it is in the left. This way, please complete the tree. The order of your subjects are given as follows. After maths, I am adding physics, geography. Then I have zoology, meteorology. So you have to look at the alphabet, and if the alphabet comes before your root, then it will be on the left. If the alphabet comes after the root, then it will be on the right. These are the subjects that you have to add. Psychology and chemistry finally. So draw a binary search tree by yourself